Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Dallas Chamber Community Affairs, in which we have a space that we welcome our guests and speakers that have any kind of impact on our community wide. So we not just bring government agencies, but we also bring community agencies that have an impact on the Dallas area or Wasco County, both of those. Today, our guest is Teri Brown, Regional Workforce and Business Coordinator for Vocational Rehab. What a mouthful, but it's such an essential service and what they do for our community. So we'll get to that in just a moment. But before we have Teri take over, we're going to have each one of our people on the screen introduce themselves and the agency that they belong to. So Teri's familiar with who's on the screen and who she's talking to. So we're going to start with Phil.
Hello, good morning. I'm Phil Brady. I'm County Commissioner and former science teacher, former juvenile detention teacher, and I don't have any big news to report coming from County Commission.
Thank you. David Peters.
Good morning, everybody. Dave Peters, Columbia Cascade Housing, the Columbia Housing Authority. I do the Housing Resource Center, which is all things housing, but one of our bigger projects is Rand Road. We're partnering with some other groups to get the Rand Road project going on Hood River. So that look for more advancement on that. Thanks.
All right, Lisa.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. I'm Lisa Aguasili George, and I'm the Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at Columbia Gorge Community College. And if you ever need me for anything, just drop me an email.
Perfect. Thank you. Philip.
Good morning, Philip Mosher, Sotheby's International Realty and Planning Commission and board member at the Art Center. I put in the chat today at 5, the Art Center is opening the exhibit As the Crow Flies. Super interesting exhibit, local artists, and it's an exhibit that is shared amongst 6 local art institutions. So very much looking forward to that. And then the other thing that's cool that's going to be starting today is the creation of a new mural in the Dalles, right next to the cherry mural in the parking lot of City Hall. Is the new mural is the theme is Wheat is King. So it's a beautiful mural that celebrates the wheat agriculture. And anybody who's interested to participate can. It'll be going on today through Sunday. So either come down and wield a brush or come down and just check others wielding brushes. And that's it for me. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. And if you guys hadn't noticed, there is also another new mural on Von Borstel's building. It is also a tribute to ag and farming, but most importantly to Von Borstel's family. I've heard rumor that there's even an image of his dad in this mural. So I want to check that out. I love it when the history can be preserved too. So that, and then Sue Davis.
Hi, good morning. I'm sorry I had to step away momentarily related to coffee.
You're fine.
I am I'm with Columbia Gorge Community College in the Office of Advancement, which includes our foundation. And I guess the one thing I'll share, which I neglected to share last week, is that we had a really successful outing September 9th for the golf tournament, and we raised about $20,000 for scholarships for next year. So hooray for that.
Awesome.
And nice to see you all.
Travis Dre.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good to see you. Travis Dre, Director of Business Development, Adventist Health, Columbia Gorge. This month, October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We have some incredible community partners that are willing to stand up. Obviously, our team at Sligo Cancer Center, our hospital, we can provide the care, we can provide the treatments, but really the awareness, the education is really a community effort. I want to thank Freebridge, Steve and Lori Light. Tonight is the launch party for Raising Hope IPA. Proceeds from every can sold will go to our Celilo Cancer Patient Fund, which helps patients who need financial assistance, acupuncture, places to stay, gas cards, etc. So it is extremely valuable to those patients and families who need that care. This year, Steve went above and beyond. He put a UPC label on the cans, the 4-packs. So you'll see them on the shelves in grocery stores, not only here in the Gorge, but also in Portland. So if you see Steve or Lori, incredible community stewardship and involvement in an incredible awareness month. In addition, Rachel Carter, Columbia Gorge Toyota, Wednesdays are Wear Pink Month. If you go down to Columbia Gorge Toyota and get a picture taken with a car, they will donate, I believe it's $5 for every picture taken to our Sligo Cancer Patient Fund. So please help these local businesses raise awareness and education. And for those of you, everyone in your circles, please tell them to get their mammograms and get scheduled. Early detection is the best detection, and much appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Travis. Kristen, this is where you're new to this little arena. So this is where you get to introduce who you are and what organization you're with.
Okay, my name is Kristen Skiles. I'm a human service assistant at Voc Rehab here in the Dalles, and we're down on the Clint in the Timmons office building. And we really thank you for having us speak with you about our program.
Awesome, thank you. Dee Davidson. Are you able to hop on? Okay, Dee, we're going to skip to Tanya, and then we'll come back to you if you pop on the screen. Tanya, you want to do a quick intro?
Sure. Tanya with Northwest Natural. Hello and good morning.
Great, thank you. And Dee, if you want to throw an intro of who you are into the chat, that would be awesome, and we'll catch it. And now Lindsay, trainer.
Hello, good morning. I'm Lindsay Trainer Johnson. I'm the vocational rehabilitation counsellor with Voc Rehab in the Dalles. I cover the Wasco County area. Good morning.
Good morning. And now to our speaker and guest, Teri Brown. Would you like to take it from here?
I would. It's also National, I'm gonna forget this, ND month, National Disability Employment Awareness Month, ND. And I will shoot Lisa a brochure on that. We've got several activities, virtual activities that are happening for that. And it is also the 50th anniversary of the disability, oh, Lindsay, help me out. The disability, not IDEA.
I'm not sure what.
Okay, sorry about that. It just went out of my head. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I am, like Lisa said, the regional coordinator, business and workforce coordinator for the Dalles. I love the Dalles, almost bought property in the Dalles, but ended up even further east. Let me share. And honestly, it was because of Sunshine Will Winery that we did that. Almost bought property there. What a fun place that is. All right. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Wonderful. So this is, we have 3 of us here from the Dalles branch. I actually have many other counties that I serve, but Kristen and Lindsay are both in the Dalles branch. It's called the Columbia River Gorge branch, and it extends from Hood River all the way up to Pendleton. And they also serve a couple of the counties that are not on the gorge. But your team, oh, I'm going to go ahead and do slideshow, even though I can't see anybody. There we go. Kristen Skiles is the Human Services Assistant, and you met her. Lindsay Trainer Johnson is a Voc Rehab counselor. Chris Howell is also a Voc Rehab counselor, and we call it vocational rehabilitation, or VR. not virtual reality. Tony DePiel is your pre-employment transition services coordinator. So she works with youth. Me, and then Catherine Cook is the Columbia Gorge branch manager for Voc Rehab. Okay, so what is VR? It is a state and federally funded apprentices and job seekers. It helps people who experience disabilities obtain integrated competitive employment. And everything is at no cost, but we have a dual client model, which is why it says there, it didn't switch. Are you still seeing your team?
No.
You are seeing what is VR then?
Yes.
Very strange. Okay, good.
Teri,
yeah.
You might want to turn your camera off and then just let it use the bandwidth for the presentation.
Okay.
Because I'm thinking it's just, we'll still be able to hear you, so don't turn off your
Right.
audio. There you go. And that might help with some of the bandwidth for you. So go ahead and try
Thank you.
that.
I appreciate it. Now, are you seeing the whole screen, or are you seeing the actual PowerPoint?
No, we're seeing the entire screen.
Okay.
It's not the slideshow. It's the entire. We're seeing. We're seeing the whole program.
Interesting.
Okay, there you go. I think you have to do that.
All right. Perfect.
It's okay. Just keep going. We're fine.
All right. Good. So we do have a dual client model, which is we do direct services. We serve people who experience disabilities, like I said, and we also serve businesses. We are under the ODHS umbrella. We help businesses recruit qualified job seekers with disabilities. The business coordinators, the counselors, the job coaches, and job developers are all involved in this process. So when businesses hire people from VR, they're getting a team. So there's actual problem solving going on, which is really nice for businesses. And we are a partner in DEIA, diversity, equity, inclusion, and access. We're the access part regarding disability in the workplace. So the referral process. Kristen, would you like to take it from here? She's actually the first person that clients and families will come into contact with when they're looking for direct services. Kristen?
Okay. So when we're looking at the area, referrals can come from many different areas, both the private sector and nonprofit. We see a lot of referrals from Mid-Columbia Center for Living, the Work Source, Columbia Care Services, even the community college, and other nonprofits and private sector entities within the area. And if you have any referrals, please reach out to me. And I'm just looking for basic client information, name, address, counselor, and then once they meet with the counselor, there will be more information that's asked as far as medical records, but that is within the process once they have that initial contact with the counselor.
Thank you.
So
a little bit about, this is what I was going to have Lindsay talk to about the direct services, the VR process. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Yeah, okay, thank you. So a potential applicant will meet with me for an intake meeting. And this is where I get to find out what are their functional limitations, as well as their strengths and what kinds of employment or training they may be seeking. For Voc Rehab we're doing a lot of trainings. We're funding a lot of training programs in terms of AA degrees, undergraduate degrees. I mean, there's even postgraduate and trade school trainings. So there's a very big focus on training within Voc Rehab at this time. So as I said, I would then review all kinds of medical records to determine what the functional limitations are, what are the barriers to employment. And then I would make them eligible. I would have 60 days between the day of application to eligibility. So that's where I write their eligibility documentation. And then I have 90 days from eligibility to write an individualized plan for employment. And this is where every plan that we write as counsellors is very individualized in the sense that it is purely designed for the person that we're working with. And as I said, it will state some of the challenges, the strengths, the goals, the plans for employment, any kind of training program. We also do things like on-the-job training is when a client is offered a job in the community and I go in and talk about an on-the-job training contract, and this can be very helpful for small business. It means basically that if the training were to be for 3 months, I could negotiate VR funding the training for 70% VR pay, 30% for the first month, 50-50 for the second, and then 70-30 with the employer the third month. It's a wonderful incentive and provides very good training for our participants. Once the client has been successfully employed for 90 days, they have to be in stable employment for those 90 days. If there are issues that come up within those 90 days, we keep working with them until they are stable, and then we close them successfully. Now, if they're a client who has more intellectual developmental disabilities, then that is a very different picture. We would keep them open longer. We would provide job coaches and everything like that to support them. They would then be transferred to long-term supports to continue the employment needs they may have.
I see Phil has raised his hand. Do you have a question?
Right. I wanted to ask about the timing on this. I understand up to 60 days means you have to get it done by that time. Typically, how long does the process from application to eligibility take?
It just depends, Phil, on how long it takes us to get the information. Sometimes, for example, for clients who are on Social Security disability, or clients who may have been with us before, we can pull some of that information, the medical information, and do a sort of preliminary eligibility and then update it when we get the information. But people receiving Social Security disability are immediately eligible for Voc Rehab.
Oh, immediately. Okay. So then you would move. So the application eligibility happens rather quickly, and then you start moving into a plan, which I understand would take a bit of time to flush out. Yeah.
The eligibility, it depends, but the maximum we have is 60 days. Now, if we can't get that information and we are making multiple attempts to get that information from medical providers, which does happen, we would then do an extension on that eligibility. We would prefer not to do that. So this is where we kind of think outside the box a bit if we can. If a client comes in and they know exactly what they want to do, I can write the plan as soon as they're made eligible. It doesn't have to take 90 days. The 90 days is just the window we have.
Right.
So it can happen a lot sooner.
Thank you. Go ahead.
And VR is working very, very hard to streamline our application intake process and our eligibility process. That is something that we have targeted for growth. Just the last 6 months, we've made changes to kind of speed that up and expedite those processes a little bit.
Yeah, please understand that I'm not being critical here. I can appreciate how long it would take to get in medical information and other information. That's nothing happens quickly in the real world.
Right, and one of the reasons that we are streamlining it is because in order to be relevant, especially the last year or so, people are getting jobs so quickly. And whether they're successful or not is often dependent on supports. They may get a job and then not be successful at it. So VR would really like to be able to put those supports in place for them so that they are. So we're trying to speed up the process, or just make it more efficient, I should say.
Right.
I'm going to talk just a little bit about youth services. Like I was telling Phil earlier, I came from the youth side and over to the business side. So I can speak on this. There are 3 different main services that PREETs, which are the pre-employment transition services. Those are all those workability and soft skills that the workforce employers so desperately need. Transition services, which are transitioning from a school-like setting to employment, and employment services. And these are the 5 PREETs that the youth team offers. They are job exploration counseling, work-based learning experiences, self-advocacy, post-secondary and transition counseling, and workplace readiness. We are currently working on a program for work-based learning experiences. We're calling it WEBL for the moment. And it's going to be a year before it rolls out, but we would love to have short-term paid experiences for students so that they can do job exploration and get an idea of what they love and why and don't love. So we are helping to train the future workforce.
Teri, before you go on to the next slide, I just wanted to say that PREETs, we take students from the age of 14 to 21 years of age.
Right, and also we are tasked with 15% of the federal dollars that we receive have to be spent on PREETs. So that's our 15% set aside. So we take training the future workforce very seriously. So workforce team, what do I do? I help develop long-term partnerships with businesses. And I say long-term here because it's important to note that I'm not just going to come in and say, I've got a client. I want to know what a business needs are, right? And if they want disability awareness trainings, if they want accessible recruitment guidance, I am going to be uncovering employment possibilities, and I collaborate with a large variety of workforce partners. I've got a slide coming up that will show you just how many people we collaborate with. So these are some of the actual nuts and bolts of what I offer businesses. Hiring guidance, retention, events, like I do hiring events. I had a hiring event in the Dalles last summer. We had, I believe, 9 career seekers come in. We had 4 businesses. Some of the businesses brought several people with them. We had some on-the-spot interviews, and 1 person was hired through that I know of so far. I do a lot of disability trainings. I've done for the Parks and Rec in Boardman, because Morrow County is one of my areas. I'm doing one for the Port of Morrow, St. Alphonsus and Baker City and Ontario are also very interested. And just like Lindsay and the other Voc Rehab counselors, individualize their plan, the disability awareness trainings and the services I offer businesses are also very much individualized. Phil, you had another question?
Yeah, as you speak of businesses and you're identifying rural areas, which is excellent. Do some of the trainings get directed toward agricultural work in rural areas?
I would love to. Yes, I am trying to get a tour of 3 Mile Farms, which is really, really big. Yeah, it's just a matter of getting in to the businesses, telling them what I have to offer, and then seeing if they want a disability awareness training. And then who is it geared for? Is it managers in HR? Is it the entire population or all of the employees? Yeah, there's a lot there to do. And yes, I would love to do more in agricultural settings. And like I said, various topics. We also do consultation. So what does reasonable accommodations mean? We do a lot of myth busting around accommodations too. Like, a lot of people think accommodations are expensive. They are not. The majority of accommodations cost $0. And then what does disability look like in your workplace? And how can we help? We want our career seekers to be successful. So how can we do that? And a lot of it comes from working with businesses to understand accommodations and other supports. And then resources. For instance, assistive technology. It is changing so quickly that there's just no way that on top of my other work that I can keep up with it, but we can connect you to experts in that field if that is something that needs, that a business needs. So here's some of our community partners. And really, a lot of my job is connections and connecting people to what they need. Of course, we work with our own youth team. We do hiring events, like I said, and a lot of that is done with the youth team. WorkSource Oregon, we work closely with the Oregon Employment Department. The workforce boards, there's 9 workforce boards across the state, and we work with the workforce boards to uncover, just to make sure that people who experience disabilities have a place at the table, right? I work with the VA. I had a meeting yesterday with the Veteran Services Officer. We work with ODDS, the Oregon Developmental Disability Services, very closely. And job placement contractors. Those are the job developers that live in your community. I can't be in every community that I serve, but I can really listen to the people who are in that community, and job placement contractors are incredibly important to what we do. So these are some of the events we host. The workforce team holds lunch and learns. DEIA, where do we go from here? That was one topic. We hold a variety of topics, and I believe that those are monthly. And we also do business spotlights where we invite our partners in from like WorkSource and the job developers to really dive deep into a business. We have a business come in and tell us their workforce needs, what they're looking for, the hiring process. And then we also, with the Youth VR, we do something called Pitch Fest. And that is where the youth team does a series of classes with like a class or a transition program. And they do a series of classes on elevator pitches, how to present yourself. And then we have community. My role in that is to invite community businesses to come in for a mock interview event so that they can practice those skills. They're so fun. I can't even tell you. They are so much fun for the businesses and the students involved. They get really nervous at first, but then they kind of relax because it's sort of like speed dating only with businesses. So they're all together doing it. So it makes them much more comfortable.
So Teri, on that note, I'm going to jump in before Stu does. One of the things that you might want to pay attention, just for exposure for some of those students, is there is a pitch fest. Basically, that is a competition. SBDC, MCED, and they did this last year. And the businesses have to pitch what their new idea is, and there's money at the end of it. So this would be something that they could attend and see this at tenfold as to, oh my gosh, they were able to pitch what their idea was. They were able to convey this. They knew their business plan, and this was chosen, and they won $5,000. It might be something where they can see it in action and kind of put a little bit of connectivity with the Dalles area, because it is for all over the Dalles. I think it was Wasco and a couple other counties, and it happened. And I know that they're planning to do it again. And that's through MCED and SBDC.
I would love to attend that. I think that would be awesome. I would love to see that in action.
Teri, sorry. I just want to mention one thing that I think is really important regarding slide 10. As a Voc Rehab counselor, I've also worked very closely with the Oregon Human Development Cooperation, working with some of my Hispanic clients. And I think it's really important to let folks know that we work closely with them as well. That they should be on the slide 10.
Thank you.
They should be on the slide.
Thank you. And Sue.
Teri, I just want to say that the CGCC community would love to partner with you and also potentially present at your lunch and learn, if that would make sense.
Oh, that would be awesome. I will put my email in the chat before I'm done.
That sounds great. Thank you.
I work with a lot of other community colleges.
I'm sure. Yeah, that's
see
fantastic. Awesome.
Oh, yep, there we go. Service area. There are 5 of us across the state. You don't really need to know the aqua, purple, or pink. The blue, the dark blue, that's me. That's me. Obviously, I drive for a living, basically. I feel like it's really, really important for me to be a presence in communities that I serve, but I can't be everywhere. So I have chosen like 5 or 6 with the guidance of the local VR branch managers 5 or 6 places that I'm focusing on. The Dalles is one of those that I'm focusing on right now. So this is my chat information. I am going to, and my chat, I'm going to put it in chat so that you all have it. And I'm trying to think if I missed anything. I know that I probably have. But if you have more questions for me, please don't hesitate. I'm going to stop sharing now. I can put that in the chat.
Has a question.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Good morning. Thank you, Teri, for sharing your presentation. It was really informative. And I love the enthusiasm that you have for the events that you hold and the fun things that happen there. So impressive. I was wondering, because you said you worked with other community colleges, which ones you work with, and if you see the potential for like developing a coalition of us over this. I'm like floored by your gigantic service area. It's enormous. I don't know how you do it. Yeah, like how we can work together and make systems function really smoothly for you and the folks you serve.
I work because I have such a huge service area. I work primarily at the moment with Blue Mountain Community College and Treasure Valley Community College. I have yet to get into CGCC, but we're doing that right now. Have you, I'm sure you all have heard of ICAP.
I have heard of ICAP, yes.
Yep, very
And
familiar.
the Dow is starting ICAP, correct?
At CGCC, we have an ICAP grant that is helping us understand how we are serving and how we can serve better.
Good, because ICAP, I think, is it's career advancement planning, inclusive career advancement program. That's what it is. And there will actually be an ICAP coach. I don't know if you have hired one yet. And they will be working closely with the VR people in the office. That would be Lindsay and Chris, to help students who experience disabilities do get schooling in whatever career plan that they have. I'm not sure where the Dows is because when we rolled it out, it's actually a federal grant. And when we rolled it out, we had a goal of being in every community college, but we had some that started. It's a 5-year program. Hopefully it will go on longer. We had some that started earlier, and then other community colleges were going to join in years 2 and years 3. So I'm not sure where the Dalles is in the process right now. But that is one way to work with Folk Rehab.
So I actually know where we are in the process. We do not have a career coach currently. The college did interview someone and they offered them the job. Sadly, it wasn't enough money for them. So what I'm trying to look at as the VRC, since we do need the career coach, is there a way that we can increase the salary for a career coach in a rural area? So this is one of the challenges at the moment, Lisa, that we're working with.
Gotcha. Thank you, Lindsay, for that. I know that there was some difficulty with other community colleges as well, obtaining that piece, and it's super important to get that person in there for overall success. So I look forward to working with the college, the community college again. And I'm always open to disability awareness training. So that is another thing. I do them for cities, government, as well as businesses. So any other questions?
Such a great resource. Thank you, Teri.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, thank you, Teri. Thank you, Lindsay. If you would like to jump on a call sometime to talk about this more, I dropped my email in the chat, and it looks like Sue is about to do the same.
I'm about to do this.
Yeah.
Yes, this
Wonderful.
is so
Thank you.
wonderful.
Yeah, and we can explore some ways to get this covered and collaborate.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you.
Teri, I do have a quick question, and I may have missed it. There's a lot going on outside. Do you guys work with the same program that's at the college for like work experience for some of the students? Because some of those students are a little bit higher risk, or they've had circumstances, they're working on their GEDs, but there is a work experience program. We actually have usually hosted nonstop those students here at the chamber, so that we're trying to get them into a business environment, teach them, because there's a lot of moms here with a lot of business experience. So I was just curious, does your program work with does some of that cross over, and you guys are working with some of those students together?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Lindsay and Chris would be the people who are working with them.
We're not
They
working.
may and
Okay.
not know it.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
All right. Well, I might do some connecting offline. I think some of your clients would cross over and be some of the same. So it might be some efforts together to really give them a step up. But, you know, we've worked with the one at the college for probably about 5 or 6 years now. And we've constantly had a student in our office that we're training and helping and supporting. Matter of fact, this September, our one student finished their time for the work experience, and we hired them permanently. And so, and right now we're hosting yet another student who's doing work experience, and there's some challenges as far as their abilities, but we're working around, and some of it can be simply a social awkwardness. They've not been in that environment before, but some of them do have a disability of some type. So that's why I'm curious. You know, some of it is an emotional, some of it is a physical, some of it is a mental. So that sounds like there's some crossover there. So I'll connect you guys offline this week and see if that's something for some collaboration, because they're right here at the college also. So it'd be nice to see maybe some of those students really benefiting from both programs, because they need that support and hand up.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Lisa. And I think it's important to note as well that VR helps people who experience barriers to employment. And that could be a physical disability. It could be a emotional and disabilities and intellectual and developmental disabilities, people who have learning disabilities, from dyslexia to communication disorders. I mean, there is a whole gamut. So obviously their abilities and experiences are wide ranged and individualized.
Teri, you mentioned you were going to put your contact information in the chat. If want to do that, and while you do that, well, thank you for your presentation. As a teacher, I had the experience of having students in class who struggled in class, and it was and it hurt their self-esteem because they were struggling against some disabilities. They persevered, they graduated, and now I see them in the community in working in jobs, and they're doing so well. and I can just see their pride and self-esteem has grown because they have work. Work is a source of our having a place in the world. So the work you do is wonderful, both for at the individual level and at the community level.
Thank you so much, Phil. That's one of my biggest points when I present to businesses is that we're not bringing people in from outside, right? These are people that are in your community. They are your child's coach's kid, right? So when you hire people with disabilities, like you said, work is an important part of our identity and our purpose. When you're doing that, you are building community. And honestly, when you build community, you are building your business, right? Because it's all interconnected.
Excellent. Thank you.
Are there any other questions for me or Lindsay?
I am not seeing any. First off, thank you, all three of you, Teri, Lindsay, and Kristen, for being here this morning, answering some questions, giving us information. If you can send me your slide deck presentation, however you want, then I can add that to our files and share if anybody asks. They did put their contact information into the chat so that you have that. And I will connect with you guys, the program that's up at the college this week before the week is over. So there is a lot going on in our community right now. Tonight is the launch for Raising Hope at Freebridge. That is the breast cancer awareness and fundraiser with the beer with the pink label. They are doing proceeds from Lori and Steve are giving part of that back. And keeping those dollars local. We have a ribbon cutting tonight at 5:15 for Maurice's, which we think is a great accomplishment when we can have a corporation come to realize the importance of being involved in their community and allowing the corporate stores to join the chamber. We think is a great step forward in being community minded. That doesn't always happen, guys. And so I think Ariel has done a great job in conveying the importance of being community active to her corporation and officers there. So that's this afternoon at 5:15. We will be putting out a press release tomorrow. I'm going to give you a little heads up. We are doing, through a grant from Google, a nonprofit training. This is free for all nonprofits, executive directors, see whatever the title is for you to be the director, all your board members, and coming and learning more about what those roles are and how that is supposed to be the fiduciary responsibility, making sure that we're all being legit and doing best practices as a nonprofit. We've brought in a professional. She'll be doing the training that's later this month. So we'll get everything out to you guys tomorrow. Registration is free. If you meet the criteria, you can be one of the top 6 who sign up for one-on-one consulting with Allison. After this event goes on, you can sign up for that and the criteria will be listed. We will also be following up for the next 3 months after the training. Talk to the pro. So Allison's going to hop onto Zoom once a month, and everybody who attended that session, you have to have attended, will be able to hop on and ask any questions so that there's some follow-up for that piece of it. We want to make sure that we have the healthiest nonprofits in our community possible. And so we feel like this is a great way to have a foundation built for that. So the chamber is doing that with Google and providing that and paying Allison to come in and do that for our community. So be watching that. And then next month, be watching for focus groups and training for our Latino-based businesses. We are working with the Nextdoor, SBDC, and Travel Oregon for a grant that we brought in, and now we're putting it on the ground. We will be working with our Latino businesses. And what do you need? What are the things, what are the gappages that happen from language, culture, all of those different things? So we'll be doing focus groups and then putting a curriculum together to help our Latino businesses and give them the support. So those will be happening. So one, if you know of nonprofits, which I think we all know at least one, or if you know some Latino-based businesses, be on the lookout for that, because that is also free to our Latino businesses. That grant covers it all. The chamber applied for that and got it, and we're able to pay our partners so they're not having to donate and do it for free either. We wanted to make sure that we recognize and do that. So thanks, Lisa. So anyway, that's what's happening. The Dallas Community Calendar. If you don't see your event, that's because you didn't submit it. So go ahead and submit. That's free for everybody to do. And make sure you get that out there in the awareness, because now is the season where everybody is doing everything. It's crazy. So be sure that you make sure you're, and you know, your social calendar can be filled up within 3 minutes. You could go boom, 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 boom. There's my weekends. Please take a look at that. Once again, that some of that is supporting our nonprofits and making sure that they're staying viable and able to provide services in our community. So with that, everybody, happy Thursday. Oh, Sue, did you want something?
One quick question. Is the Dallas Community Calendar the best place to get all the details on your nonprofit training? I want to route that to the board, like, as soon as I get off this call.
Well, I don't have it posted on there yet. So
Okay.
Give me a chance.
Awesome.
That's why we're going to release it tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll have the whole press release and the flyer and the registration link.
Fantastic.
It will be all on the chamber site. If you go to dallaschamber.com by tomorrow, there'll be a link to register and all of the info will be there.
Awesome. That sounds so fantastic. Thank you so much for offering that. Our foundation board is the board I'm thinking of, and will be super valuable.
This is Allison is amazing. She'll either scare you into doing everything right or give you all the right information. She's a stickler and there's no filter. You do it. I had her train my board one year and they all came out going, yeah. And I said, no, it's all good. We just have to do it right.
So well, fear is a certain kind of motivator, but hopefully I won't be afraid at the end of the training.
Oh no, she's by the time you're done, you're like, oh my God, yeah, that's not difficult. Here's this tip, this, and now we're doing this all right. And so we're having less issues later, less surprises later. Love it, Lisa. She's got a helper. So anyway, that's what this is for. I have a heart to make sure that we're healthy, both in our businesses, but also our nonprofits and our youth. And so this is one of the things I'm able to do as the chamber and provide to our community. So I will keep you posted. If you don't see anything, don't be afraid to hound me in my email. It's just because I got busy. So be looking for that. Everybody, happy Thursday. Go grab an extra cup of coffee, go outside, take in that sunshine, and then start your day. So thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.